You talked about the offensive line a second ago, and finally them sort of seeming to gel. And this is clearly your expertise, right? It seems the staff has settled on an O-line: Dawkins, Butker, Morse, Feliciano, and Williams. What were your thoughts? You said it. They seem to be gelling. So how did you get a chance to really kind of take a look at the way they played in this football game against the Niners?
Okay, so that's why I went back and watched it, right? Because, during the game, the emotions are running high, even for me sitting on the edge of my couch, Zach Moss fumbling there. And I was like, with throwing the ball 1st and goal from the 10, I want to run it. So looking back on it, it's kind of tough for an old dog like me because, you don't have access to that awesome film and that slow-mo frame by frame stuff. But by and large, my initial indications of how the offensive line played were not nearly as good as when I just rewatched the film. Everybody makes a couple of missteps here and there. Feliciano had a couple of plays that he'd like to have back. Butker. He played pretty well. There's I'm not their offensive line coach. So, I mean, for me, the guards, I'd like to see them a little bit more long arm at the beginning of the play, especially pass play. And on occasion, I just see him a little forward heavy, but it didn't hurt him. Josh had great time to throw. He did an excellent job getting the ball out on the time. The tackles played really well. I thought Mitch Morse played extremely well. He had, I think, just 2 plays. I think Feliciano had 2 he probably wanted back. Mitch had maybe 1.5. I know that Dawkins, he had 1 for sure. And Booker played pretty well.
No, you don't like to call players out, and I know that you don't like to the way you put it. You don't like to disparage players, and I get it. But you're a former player, and that's you didn't like it when people did it to you. But I think the question that a lot of Bills Mafia has, we were very excited to see the change between Brian Winters and Ike Butker. It was a huge blessing to get Feliciano back. I mean, because that offensive line is just different when Feliciano's in there. What do you think the staff saw in a guy like Brian Winters, as a guy that has been in the locker room, as a guy that's been in meetings, as a guy that's been in those times when the staff is shuffling through, trying to find the best 5 and flow? From what you were watching from Brian Winters, what do you think the staff liked in him versus Butker, who we saw in the Niners game and pretty much played and I think solidified his role?
I'm leaving.
No, he left, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a variety of reasons where you make moves like they're making. And one of them could be you expect Booker to be the starter. And as things progress in practice, which we don't see, things in the meeting rooms that we don't hear about, sometimes you put a guy in to pressure another guy's improvement. Breaking down, I'd have to go back a little further and break Winters down a little bit more. But again, I think you can identify some of the offensive line play to the offensive philosophy. We're a pass-heavy team.
Yes.
There's no 2 ways about it. And you occasionally get some mismatches up front. I think the wise thing to have done, which they did, is settle in on one guy. And sometimes training camp extends into the season. Fans don't like it. They like continuity everywhere. But, with injury and the war of attrition, changes are made regardless. And sometimes those changes are just competitive changes. So we're just going to take it day by day, game by game, and assess everybody. And they're probably pulling them aside and saying, you need to play better. Or, he's on your heels. And, that's the kind of pressure you get at work. That's the kind of pressure they get, because guess what? It's work.
Yeah.
They take home a paycheck. It matters.
Yeah. There's been a couple times where McDermott has been asked about just when Winters was playing and what he saw. And I think a couple times, he said that, just he comes to work every day, like the way he practices. And my guess, even as I'm sitting here talking to you and thinking through it could be a situation, I'm guessing, where they're in the meeting room and maybe a guy has more talent, is better, but he isn't studied up, or he doesn't have the answers, or he isn't getting the scheme. That's probably something too. So it's like, I know this guy gets it, right? He might not have the talent of that guy, but this guy gets it. So I'm going to play this guy guy over that guy because that guy isn't doing the work he needs to be doing at night at home, right? So he doesn't know the play calls or whatever, doesn't know the assignments or misses a check, right? I mean, that could potentially be it.
And that's the stuff that we don't know.
Right, correct.
That's the stuff. We can't be privy to everything. Oh, look, I'm wearing my Buffalo Bills gear.
You are.
There we go.
That's
Last
right.
time I wasn't wearing it. my one man
It marches across.
one man herd flying across the screen.
That's awesome.
These are the kinds of things that we just don't have. We don't have a line of sight toward.
Right.
And we shouldn't, frankly.
Right.
Too many analysts are coaches, too many fans are coaches. Not in a bad way, but in a way that we're picking apart a number of things that we don't know the real answer to, and we're just making some guesses here and there.
Yeah, and I think that's where the frustration mounts a little bit, just from the fan side. And I know that you're now a fan. You said it, like you sit on the edge of your seat, just like I do, just like everybody's listening to this program does. I think what happens for us is like we don't get like the straight answer, or maybe what's going on in the locker room. We don't see it. So for us, we just see them continuing to truck out a guy that was cut by the Jets that, in our eyes or in our opinion, from what we watched, doesn't seem to be executing right the way that he needs to complete the plays that they're trying to run. And for us, we're just not necessarily getting the answer. So for us, the frustration just sets in. Why?